Hi, everybody. So welcome to our webinar today. Some of you have been here before, so you're familiar with Tara. So let me introduce myself and let me introduce Tara. So my name is Brana. I work in the training department. I work really closely with Crystal, who is enjoying her vacation time today. And let me
She's
introduce
got
you.
to stop putting this stuff on Facebook because she's looking like she's having too much fun.
Oh, she's having a lot of fun. We actually got to speak to her this morning. She came on our morning call and surprised
Oh
us.
my
So
gosh.
she's having a
Stop it.
blast. You know what? She deserves it. She works hard.
She does.
And so for those of you who aren't familiar with Tara, Tara has been with us a really long time. I think since 2015, if I recall correctly.
The end of 15, beginning of 16 is when I actually had my website launched. I had switched from one provider over to Agent Locator.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And Tara has been very successful with our agent locator system. Tara does focus more on email campaigns and texting campaigns, but she's got a lot of wisdom, a lot of great suggestions on how to speak to clients as well over the phone, because obviously she does speak to them over the phone as well. So, today, we're going to actually do a conversation focused more around the buyer representation agreement. So the BRA, is that correct, Tara?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Absolutely.
Whatever you think is good, I'm ready to rock and
You know
roll.
what? I think the BRA is actually a really great topic because overall, people don't know exactly when is the best time to bring up the BRA. Is it right at the beginning? Is it as they built a relationship? Like there's so many different, approaches with the BRA. And I know that some agents, kind of feel that the moment they bring up the BRA, then they start getting ghosted from potential clients, and that's not an unusual thing.
No.
So if anybody has any questions as we're going along, or sorry guys, my apologies. If anybody has any questions as we're going along, or wish to start off with a question about the BRA, then please raise your hand or put it in the Q&A and we can start that way, or we can just start by information. So I'll give all of you an opportunity to think about that. And if you would like to ask us any questions or ask Tara any questions about BRA, please go right ahead. And don't be shy.
Don't be shy. No. So I'm noticing, I will tell you, leads, definitely. I've always bought leads. Many of you that are on here, because I can see you, I'm starting to figure out how Zoom works. I think after all these years, I would. I'm seeing a complete, I was going to say 180, but maybe not so. I'm seeing leads converse a lot more. I'm seeing a lot more activity in the replies to my drip campaign. I'm seeing a lot more people wanting to get out ASAP. So I guess to start off with our BRA conversation, I want people to really, really stay focused on watching your relogin notifications. Because what I do see, as many of you who've been on here before, I live, eat, and breathe my relogin notifications. You can miss very quickly when somebody has replied to an email, and our response time is everything. So we don't want to respond the next day. If they've replied to our drip campaign or replied to something that we've sent out, we got to respond right away, because there's people like me that will respond right away, and I'll probably get your lead. So as I start seeing the activity and the response being greater and greater, for me, being so long in this business doing lead conversion, I can tell you right now, people are freaking out about the next rate hike.
Yeah.
And they got to be buying. So before we get too involved in our BRA, we did do, as I had mentioned the last time I was on, we did do our live Zoom with all of our agent locator leads, my team and I with our mortgage broker. It was a phenomenal success. We opened it out as another warm and fuzzy touch, as I like to call it, another way that I touch my leads. We said, hey, everybody's got a lot of questions. Why don't you attend our free live Ask a Mortgage Broker is what I called it, virtual.
Nice.
Many of our leads attended it, and they were able to ask Rich everything. And what he said was phenomenal. He's been in the business doing mortgages locally for 25 years. He has never seen anything like it. And this is exactly what he said. Feel free to go on my Instagram, my Facebook, all of that stuff. You can watch the recording because I actually did figure out how to record it.
Good.
Yay, Tara. And he said this, if you have buyers right now, get them out buying, because there's going to be another increase in December, another one in January. He goes, many people are saying they're going to wait because maybe prices are going to go down in 23 as this projection is. He said, if you've got buyers right now, they have to buy now before the next two increases, because what's going to happen is as the rates increase, they have to requalify. We know they're going to get qualified for less, but their mortgage payment is going to be more. He said, I need realtors to get their buyers to understand now is the time to buy, not when the prices increase in 23 again. So word for wise, what we're doing now is we're relaying this information to all of our buyers that are currently in the car right now with our agent locator leads, and of course other ones, to help them understand that time is of the essence right now in purchasing now as opposed to later.
Wow, that's amazing. That's good information.
Yeah.
It's interesting that a lot of real estate agents kind of have put everything on hold for themselves because of the interest rates going up. And that's not necessarily the solution either.
No.
You got to keep that flow going in general and keep that momentum going, because if the moment you stop, it's always so much harder to get started again.
Yeah.
And get people back into that groove.
In the car. That's the biggest thing with conversion is if you don't keep them in the car looking, if you don't say to them, you're not wasting my time.
Yeah.
You're not. I want to continue to show you houses. And maybe at the end of the day, it is a lot of work for us. We know that. But I know this. I know that they're never going to buy unless they're in my car actively looking. I knew that 18 years ago when I first started creating my drip campaign.
Yeah.
They got to be in my car or they're never going to buy. They've got to be in my car or they're never going to sell.
It's true.
So when I leave a buyer appointment with my agent locator leads, with my other past client referral leads, I never leave one buyer appointment without having a next showing date booked.
Yep. Book a meeting from a meeting.
Yep. When can we go out again, Bob and Sue? Are you free Saturday? Okay. That's how I've always worked. And especially now, in with what the mortgage broker that we had with our live event first said, honestly, I'm not doing them any injustice if I say, okay, well, nobody really wants to go out and I don't know what to say. I can't do that. I've got to gently ease them into it, if at all possible. Not everybody's going to.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions before we get into information about the BRA? Any questions?
BRA, our good old BRA.
Yeah.
For many that have not been in the business that long or have only been in the business knowing the BRA, for those of us that started prior to it, what Rico had a rule called who showed the property first. And that's what we went by if there was ever any disputes. If buyer A saw 123 Main Street with two agents and did a deal with one of those agents, if there was a dispute, Rico would say who showed them the property first. that's who gets paid the commission.
Yeah.
And because this was becoming more and more common, where people, our buyers, tend to talk
Fluff
to
around.
a lot of agents, even though they might be working with us. That's how the BRA came into fruition. So for those of us that had never had it before, it became quite a transition to try to now say to somebody, well, you have to sign this document. Right.
And at the end of the day, the document's protecting both the client and you.
Right. Right. And I think as we start to see, I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, people, so please be part of the chat.
Yes.
What we see a lot, especially when the market was really, really crazy the last 2 years, currently not as much now, I believe, was a lot of agents were clearly telling their buyers, just book it through the listing agent, see the property, you're going to get a better deal if you do an offer with them, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the offer with you. Right. So we were seeing a lot of listing agents showing properties only to find out, right? Those people were actually under contract with another realtor, and the realtor didn't want to make the drive in to show 123 Main Street. So a couple of things that you guys are seeing a lot of right now is where listing agents now are saying, if the property has been shown with the listing agent and that buyer does go forward with an offer, only 1.5% cooperating broker commission is going to be paid, right? Or listing agents now are saying, I'll show you the property, but I'm going to make you sign a BRA on 123 Main Street prior to us going in.
Yeah.
So what is the thoughts of everybody? What do they like to do? I think going forward, the buyer rep, as I've seen real estate transition to a place where people do believe they're going to get a better deal with a listing agent, I believe that we deserve to be paid. I believe that real estate agents, unless you're an agent, we work so hard. And to work this hard with people and to not get paid because they've now gone, with someone else because they think they can get a better deal if they use, I find it insulting. So from somebody that did have a difficult time transitioning, how do I get this signed when I never had to before? I'm all about going with your gut. If you're working with somebody or you start seeing homes with somebody and that person, you're getting that kind of jive, my suggestion is get it signed as soon as you can. There are other people that you may not need to, right? So what is your opinion, everybody? And how do you feel about the BRA?
Does anybody have any thoughts around the BRA? Any experiences that they've had with respect to BRA specifically affecting them in terms of their clientele or how their deal goes? Oh, we have a question here. Let's just see. So someone is asking, does asking to sign a BRA early on risk scaring them off? So what are your thoughts with that?
I'm 50-50 on it. And maybe that's because I'm old school and I was in real estate prior to having to get it signed. I think that I've seen a lot of people say to me, the reason I didn't use agent A or B was because they wouldn't show me a property until I signed it. So can you lose people? I guess that's always going to be something for sure. I think that if you can get it signed, as long as you're saying it the right way, as long as you're explaining it the right way, as long as you're saying to those people that there is a cancellation of the BRA if you do decide you can't work with me anymore.
Right.
I would like to see going forward it getting signed sooner than later in the process because of the dynamics of some realtors and because of the dynamics of some buyers now. And I don't want somebody showing somebody 30 houses and then them figuring they can get a better deal with listing agent A. I think that's completely unfair. What I've done in my drip I hadn't even showed, I'll give you an example. I hadn't showed this lead of mine houses yet, but she had spent a full week conversing with me about going out and showing her on a Saturday. I think we were showing her about 4 or 5 homes every day. Hey, Tara, what about this? What about this? And I was really excited to meet her, as I am with all of my agent locator leads. I love meeting them face to face because then I can get more into what it is they want, and we can have the BRA conversations and that kind of stuff. So anyways, I had spent a lot of time. She was texting me a lot during the day, this and that, and what do you think about this? And she kept saying, oh my goodness, Tara, you respond so quickly. Again, response time. I go back to that. And I'm like, thank you. That's the realtor I am. You know, I want to make sure I'm always here for you. I'm looking forward to meeting you on Saturday. I had asked her multiple times, just making sure you're not working with another realtor. And I actually say this now when I am having this conversation. Just so you know, we are not allowed by RICO to work with another realtor if you are currently under contract. She kept replying, nope, nope, no, I haven't started. This is our first time out. We're really looking forward to meeting you. So the night before I'm supposed to meet her, I get a text saying, you've been amazing, but our realtor is going to show you these properties, is going to show us these properties. And I sat back and I went, you know what? I'm done. I need to now have another way that I'm getting this point across, because the public does not understand why the BRA is in fruition, right? I asked her multiple times. So I replied back to her and I said this, the dark side of Tara may have come out just a little bit. I said, I asked you multiple times, are you working with a realtor? You told me repeatedly, no. And she said to me, get over it. And I was like, oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. So then I went back to my drip campaign and I said, okay, I've got this amazing drip campaign that works. It brings people in the car. Majority of people are not like this woman. I know that. But my drip campaign now is going to now educate the public on why we have the BRA, what it means, and what our code of ethics say. I can't work with you. Did you know that? So I incorporated that as part of my drip. And I also went on Treb and I got the plain English buyer representation agreement, as like they call it, the plain English. And I attached it to my new email in my drip. So basically it outlines I think the subject line I put on it was, my agent wants me to sign a buyer representation agreement. And in the body of it, I just explained, in a nutshell, I make my emails very short. Did you know that we can't work with you if you're under contract? And this is why we ask you, are you currently working with an agent? I want to help you understand what this is. And I've attached the plain English version so that you'll understand the next time a realtor asks you, will you sign this? And the response I'm getting from the public is huge.
What type of responses are you getting?
They're like, thank you. We didn't know.
Lovely.
We didn't know. Right? And I think having the plain English form, because, our forms are written by lawyers.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time we're trying to figure out what they're really trying to say, right? But the plain English ones are perfect. And it's still on Treb, which is amazing that they still haven't gotten rid of it. So attaching that is now the layman's way of explaining. And now going forward, I'm thinking to myself, well, guess what? Nobody's going to tell me to get over it again. Nobody.
And the other thing too is, one of the reasons for campaigns isn't just to, put words on a page. It's to educate at the same time. So, campaigns need to be more than just, hi, come work with me because I'm here and I can help you.
Right.
And so doing something like that and making that adjustment is really huge, because at the end of the day, as you said, you are now educating the public to what they don't know.
Yeah. And, years ago, and I think this is where our difficulty has come in as well lately. I want to say, oh gosh. Now, Paul Friggin is on here. I see you, Paul. Agent with me for years, and he might be able to, if he's on, still listening. I want to say we've had the BRA for probably 10 to 12 years now.
Oh, it's longer than that.
Is it? Oh,
It is definitely longer than that. I've been in the industry for 37 years, and let me just think about that.
I don't, yeah.
No, yeah, you're probably right. Maybe
No,
10
I think
12
I,
years.
yeah.
I think it's a little longer, but it's around that time.
So what they first had when they first brought it into fruition was there was a lot of radio commercials about the BRA. There was a lot of advertising going on, not so much on TV, but radio stations. So I think when it first came into fruition, we didn't have to really talk about it because they would bring it up to us because they kept hearing it all over the radio. But I'm not seeing that for many, many years. So I think going forward, even though we always ask the question, are you working? I'm still willing to meet somebody. This is my personal opinion without having that signed ahead of time. But I'm a big believer in your gut. And if you're starting to show houses to somebody and you're kind of get that feeling, get it signed, because I think that too many people out there use and abuse realtors' times without actually having a sense of loyalty. So I think that we deserve to be paid.
Absolutely. Treb used to have, and I think they still do, the BRA site where you go ahead and you log, you register your client's information. And I really, in my opinion, I think that that's something that needs to be enforced more, because I think that would help realtors in general not fall into the situations of, I've been showing this client a property, they want to put in an offer, we put in an offer, and then I find out that they've been working with somebody else. What can you explain to people without having the BRA in a situation like that where they've showed somebody property, they haven't done necessarily their due diligence in terms of making sure that they aren't working with somebody, get to that offer stage, and then all of a sudden they get a phone call from the other agent, you're working with my client. What happens in terms of the commission and what the outcome could potentially be for that?
I mean, the outcome potentially, if there's a BRA signed, I mean, listen, I'm not a lawyer, but if the BRA signed with another realtor, you've potentially lost your income. I would love to believe that other realtor would say, oh my goodness, my client went behind my back and now you've done all the work, and at least be willing to do, a referral back at the very minimum, I think that it still happens. I mean, listen, we had an agent in our office who came to me because I'm the manager here and said, I just found out that my buyer's been talking to 25 other listing agents because, and having no idea. Listen, we don't know what they're going to do. Our buyers are always going to call and try to get info on A, B, and C. But I think that when we're working with somebody, I think that we really need to sit down and say, here is the RICO, because the entire public knows about RICO. Here is the RICO rules that we have to follow. And maybe we need to spend a little bit more time in doing that buyer appointment, right? Maybe we need to sit them down and say, I need you to understand why A, B, and C is in place. And I need you that if you want to see a property or you want info, to tell me first before you hit click.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, there's a lot of realtors out there that will still try to work with your people.
100%.
I see it. And I think maybe we need to just be a little bit more proactive on really locking in the client's loyalty back to us.
So when you have a client who you've gone through this explanation, maybe you've explained the BRA, you've kind of gone over the stuff, and this potential client is over and over resisting on signing those agreements. What do you feel is the best approach to deal with those clients that you want to move forward with them, but you're kind of getting this resistance in terms of the BRA or any type of agreement for them to sign?
I think it's a good question, and that's what that girl asked. Listen, at the very minimum, we have to get it signed at the point of an offer, right? So, if I know there's a deal there, if I know that they are showing houses or seeing houses with me regularly, then I'll get it signed at the point of offer. Again, I want to go back to your gut. If you've got a gut feeling that your people are all over the map, I guess is a good way of saying it, and they won't sign, then you need to make a decision if you want to continue working with them. I ultimately, every realtor has to decide what's best for them. What I believe is the more that they're educated, that this isn't us just being, I want to say dicks. I'll say it. Maybe I was going to say, am I allowed to swear on this or am I not?
Sometimes there's just no other way of saying
what
it.
I mean, I feel like the more that I'm starting to explain it, the more that I'm saying, I'm not trying to hold you hostage. I'm not putting a gun to your head. I'm obeying the RICO code of ethics. I find less are putting resistance. The ones that are putting resistance, in my opinion only, are probably people that are playing many, many different realtors, and they do not want to be locked in. Because, listen, what I'm hearing now from a manager's standpoint is the amount of realtors that are also giving kickbacks is huge. So for somebody that is not wanting to sign in, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we may not be aware of what's being offered from others.
Absolutely. So we know that there are agents that have been burned over and over by not getting a BRA signed.
Yeah.
Maybe let's see if we can open up a discussion to anyone here to find out, their stories and experiences and some of the things that they've gone through with being burned or not burned, or knowing of other agents that have. So we're going to actually open up the floor to you guys. We've talked a bit about BRA and what can and cannot happen and how you should approach them. What are some of your experiences? So Paul has said the old saying was, it's better to lose them now than later.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Aftab says here, I lost my one client. He was ratty, but ready to buy the property when I prepared the offer at $2 million and asked him to sign the BRA. He refused to sign the BRA and asked, I am working with and I asked, and he said he was working with another agent, but still I didn't sign the BRA with that one as well. So he's had a few situations, it sounds like, where one, and Aftab, please confirm if I'm right in this, that he didn't get a BRA signed because somebody refused, and so he didn't move forward. And then another client where, he didn't end up getting the BRA signed and they ended up working with somebody else. Am I correct in that, Aftab?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to.
It's hard to.
Oh,
he
there you
didn't
go.
sign with me.
Oh, he didn't sign with him. Yeah, he didn't
$2 million
sign with him.
one. Yeah. So did you still do the deal? Because you were doing an offer, or did you cut the deal?
I'm going to see if I can open up his speaker so that he can
I
talk.
lost the deal. Okay, so when he refused to sign the BRA, even the customer service BRA, did you offer him?
I'm going to open up his
okay.
Aftab. If you want to try talking, unmute yourself, go right ahead.
Yeah.
It'll make it
Tara.
easier.
This is Aftab.
Hi, Aftab.
Yeah. So when I asked him to sign a BRA, he said, no, I will not sign any BRA with any agent because I'm working with another agent as well. So I don't want to bond with it. So I said, because RICO rule, I have to represent you on behalf of you, and I can't go without any BRA. He said, I don't want to sign any document. I don't want to bound myself with anyone. And
Okay.
he left it.
And he wouldn't sign the offer either.
No, he didn't.
So the only other thing that you could have done, I don't know if you offered him the customer service, or you could have done the BRA only applicable to that particular property. But even then, it sounds like he wouldn't have signed it, right?
Oh, what about if we write working with realtor?
Sorry,
what was that? You cut out there.
out on me.
If we can sign the working with realtor, does it work?
Well, that depends on your brokerage policy. So every brokerage has different policies. So the working with the realtor probably is a mandatory one, but it doesn't replace the BRA.
Okay.
So if in a case like that, it doesn't matter because it's already done, you have the option to do the customer service part of the BRA.
Okay.
Or you can put under where it says the geographic description on the BRA. For this guy, you could have said only applicable to 123 Main Street, whatever that offer was that you were doing. You know, when you're in a situation like that, then that's really crappy. Which is, you know, again, why we're talking about this. The BRAs are a way to protect us and our time that we're spending.
Absolutely.
When you're in that situation, don't be afraid to call your manager. Don't be afraid to call your broker of record and get a backup opinion. But I mean, nobody wants to work with somebody that isn't going to be loyal back to you either.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Think about that. You
Thank
show
you.
them the properties, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
No
So
problem.
It's terrible what is happening in our real estate community, you know, and I think that's where maybe starting to have these buyer appointments ahead of time of going out, taking the time to meet with them, you know, whether or not it's at your brokerage or maybe it's at a Tim Hortons, and saying, I just want to explain, this is how it works and this is why it's done the way it is. And this is what you're going to get from me. But this is what I expect you to also give back to me. Loyalty. Right? You know, maybe the public just needs to understand a little more. And the onus is always going to fall on us to make sure that we're relaying it, right? They're not going to get it from other places. But keep at it.
Absolutely.
Do
Absolutely.
another $2 million or more. That's what we want.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There.
Thank
Right.
you, Aftab, for your feedback. So we have here Larry Prasad. I'm actually going to open it up for
Larry.
him to talk. Give me one moment. So Larry, you now have the availability to talk. So Larry says here he will bribe them to sign his BRA. So Larry, can you talk about that?
Yeah.
Sure. So what I first do is I'll have the conversation on the phone when they first inquire, and I'll ask them to sign the BRA. That's me testing the waters to see if they're interested in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, I will still show them the property, but like you just pointed out, it's an opportunity to meet with them and then explain it in person.
Yeah.
And then I show them the value that I bring in terms of what I do for them differently. And it's not just writing an offer, it's a protection that I bring to them. And then, you know, at the end, if they deal with me, there's always a closing gift. So there's a carrot at the end of the process, and it could be a gift card, it could be something that no one else may give them, but it's
Right.
it's basically showing them the value of my experience before we get to that stage.
So let me ask you, you take them out, you ask the question before you take them out, you then take them out so they get to know Larry, right?
Yes.
Do you have these conversations while you're out, or do you take them to do a buyer appointment somewhere where now you're showing them your value proposition, which, by the way, we have to show these people our value proposition. Why would they want to remain loyal to us? That's key,
Absolutely.
right? It's key for any business.
Yeah.
So do you do it on site, or do you now go to Tim Hortons or somewhere else?
Yeah. So we'll go and look at the properties, and we don't I don't try and interject or make myself force myself onto them while we're showing it. It's just about the property, showing them the pluses and minuses. And then when we go for a copy, which I'm always happy to do that, I then show them the value of why they would deal with me. As I would point out, maybe this is not the right home because of these features or lacking thereof.
Yeah.
And basically from that, they haven't experienced that with anyone because everyone's trying to make a sale right on the spot. Where I'm saying, you know what, here, this is not the property you want to see. Maybe we look at another one. Let's give it and at that point, again, it's like, just droplets, right? Every time I meet or I talk, and then after 3 times, I'll say, listen, here's the document. And I think you pointed it out. I give them the English version. And I said, I'd like to sign by the time we go into our 3rd appointment. And if they're hesitated at that point, obviously I haven't done my job to show them the value that I bring. And it's not on them, it's on me.
Yeah. You've got it down to a T. So, put yourselves, as I always say, and go back to our further recordings that we've done in the past. We have to show them who we are. We have to understand that their personalities are different, right? We could be dealing with people that are super skittish and have had bad experiences in the past with BRAs. There are agents that will sign people up for a year or 2, and the people don't really understand, that they're locked in. They think they're locked in to this unbelievable amount of time. So what a better way to show somebody, Larry puts them at ease. He says, this is what I'm going to give you. This is what you're going to get from me. And now going forward, if we could sign it on appointment 3 or 4, who wouldn't want to sign? I would sign with you because I would see that you're allowing me time to interact with you, to feel like I can work with you, rather than you throwing a paper at me at first and signing me up for a year when I really don't understand if you and I are a good fit.
Yeah.
Right.
And quite honestly, a lot of people have told me in the years that, oh, my brother-in-law told me not to sign anything, or my sister, or wherever they get this information from. It seems to be a pandemic up there in regards to that. So I'm okay with that. And again, I go back to, you know what? I'm working at your level. I'm working at your pace. I've got the experience. Let me show you what I can do. Instead of telling you, I'll show you.
Yeah.
That also goes back to, when you're dealing with these leads and there's no connection between you and the lead, really directly outside of the fact of them looking for real estate. What you're doing, Larry, is building that trust and building that rapport and building that relationship with them, whether it's over the phone or through email or through text or in person. You're taking those steps to build those relationships. And in the training department, that's a lot of what we talk about is, building those relationships with people for them to get to that point where they're like, okay, like Tara said, we're okay signing this because you've given us the opportunity to think about it. You're not locking me into anything, right? You're not shoving it down their throat right in the beginning.
You're absolutely correct in all points. That is exactly what we're trying to do, is form that relationship. When you have a relationship, it's hard for them to break away from that because they now know what they're going to get from you in dealing with you. And anyone else they've dealt with, they always come back and go, my God, I'm so glad I'm dealing with you, because the other person drops the ball or doesn't return calls in a timely fashion. So it proves itself.
That's a big thing. Right?
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you, Larry, for that feedback. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
I feel like that helped everybody a lot. So it's
absolutely
okay to figure out what works in your business. What we know about the BRA is it has to be signed.
Yeah.
Right. It has to be signed, but figure out who you are, figure out your dynamics and make that fit with your people. I'm a really big believer that I know most people, especially our leads, because they're communicating with us without seeing us. We have to build their trust. And the reason that I've always been such a high converter through my drip campaign, and when I talk to these people on the phone, is I know I have to get their trust before they'll work with me. Right? So trust and value proposition to me should go hand in hand. Right? And
absolutely.
They need to see us live. They need to see us in action. And then going forward, it should become easier.
So
Beautiful.
we have a comment from Oscar, and I'm going to open it up for him to talk as well, but I'm going to share the comment. So the comment is, after explaining why the BRA is important and the amount of work that we do behind the scenes, I asked them, would you show up to your job and work for free? He
Oh,
said it doesn't always work, but he has had better results. Oscar, can you tell us a little bit about that? Oscar, you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hey, there you
hi,
are.
Oscar.
Hi,
So
everyone.
share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, like I've always had, problems getting people to sign the BRA. Just like everybody else, I've been burnt a lot of times. So, just like, I started Googling scripts and stuff like that. And through scripting, I came across that line. And I noticed that every time I bring it up, that's like the last resort, like, my plan Z, let's just say, right? I try to explain value, why the BRA is important for them and, and us. But that's like my last resort. And every time I say that, they seem to understand what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to get at, right? Especially after you explain the value that you're willing to do, all the work, it puts things into perspective, right? So I found it that, like, I am getting some BRA signed now. Like I said, like some people still say no. It is what it is. Like, not everyone's the same, but I'm actually getting some signatures nowadays.
Perfect. And I mean, that's a perfect analogy. Don't be afraid to say that. Thank you for sharing that. Nobody works for free, right?
I actually,
No one.
so I actually use it when people ask for cash back too, and for me to reduce my commission. Would you show up if your boss asked you to show up and do the work that you do for half the price? Would you do it?
Yeah.
And
they wouldn't.
They never give you an answer. They just stay quiet.
They wouldn't. Exactly. Good.
Well,
for
it puts it in perspective for them.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, people complain as it is right now that they don't make enough money and that taxes get taken off and so on and so forth. So, if they're asking you, I mean, you can always ask, but at the end of the day, it's what you put the price on for yourself as to what you're valued at as an agent. That's awesome. Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, what, great feedback, great experiences. It's really, great to hear some of the different perspectives of the BRA. Does anybody else have any questions about the BRA or any feedback on their experiences with the BRA? We're happy to have you chat with Tara directly and kind of get her feedback.
I mean, this is the beautiful thing about doing these webinars is this isn't just about people learning from what I do. We're all in this together, and I learn from you guys as much as you learn from me. We're colleagues. We're not competitors. So any bits and pieces that you guys do are such a benefit going forward for everybody. I remember years and years ago, my first years in real estate, a friend of the family's had moved to the States, and he had left Durham, started a business in the US, and then he decided to become a realtor. So he had called me to say, guess what? I just got my license down here. Now I'm going to be a realtor just like you. And he started talking to me about what real estate was like there as opposed to what it was like for me in Ontario. And he had said to me, and I'll never forget this, I just about dropped the phone. He was like, when you show all these houses, how much do you charge them? And I remember going, John, what are you talking about? Like, charge them? And I go, you were born in Ontario. What? Like, you've only lived in the US for 2 years. And he goes, well, he said, the brokerage that he was with, he was living in North Carolina. That's all I can speak about. I don't know if this is common in the US still.
Right.
But he goes, when we start taking buyers out, they have to pay us a $500 retainer. They start paying right away for the time that we're spending while we're showing them houses. And I remember thinking, that's crazy. Back then. Now this was 20 years ago. But now going forward, as I'm seeing people really take advantage of realtors and what's happening now in the market, that actually doesn't sound like such a bad idea. Not that I would ever do it, but I remember going, what the heck? And now I'm like, well, that kind of does make sense to a certain degree in some instances.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, just couldn't imagine that at this point in time.
Oh.
Charging a retainer to people in Ontario, they'd be like, yeah, okay.
You're out of here.
Next, you're out of here.
Exactly.
So Larry says that he tried that $500 thing and it didn't work.
Well, at least you tried.
Yeah, I'm actually curious, Larry. I'm going to unmute you or ask you to unmute. I'm curious to hear what the response was to that.
Well, people were shocked by the fact that we were doing this. This is going back probably about 12, 15 years ago.
Okay.
And then the question was, would I get this back? How does it work? Can I pay by check? And no, listen, you got to give me, basically you're paying it to my broker. You're not giving it to me because I'm not allowed to collect money from you.
Mhm.
Right. So it was something they would have to pay the broker, and pretty much everybody thought it was, even the people I worked with, because I had heard about this training in the US and this is where it started.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Interesting.
I adopted it. I thought it was kind of, I thought it was crazy at the time. And I thought, what the heck, let's give it a whirl. But yeah, no one took it.
Interesting.
And how long did you try that for?
I ran with that probably for about 6 months. It was in a lot of my advertising as well.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, but the US, they seem to gravitate towards that. From what I understood in the training, there were people in the US that were doing that.
So
gotta-
that was a thing. Okay.
It's got to be a specific approach then that they were doing. I mean, I totally get the concept behind it. I mean, you know, if you're going to be, and I guess that's kind of the whole thing with the BRA here too. Like if you're going to be running with someone and you can be running with them and then they don't end up buying, well, you've spent a lot of time and effort running with them, whether they buy or sell at that point in time. And it may work out that they don't buy or sell anything now. And maybe 3 years down the road is when they actually end up doing that, and they end up doing it with another agent. So yeah, I totally get the whole concept of that, right?
Yep.
Right. The other thing I forgot to mention is I would say to them, the $500 is there, basically a deposit for my time and for my expertise. And if you do something with me, you get that back.
Ah,
Right?
okay.
So it locks them into working with me, because if they want their money back in 6 months or a year or whatever, they
Yeah.
have to come back to me.
See,
And if they didn't
$500
come back to you, then you just pocketed the
then you would
$500.
keep it.
Yeah, the broker gets it and whatever.
But you put time and effort towards that. So that's kind of where that is.
Yeah, but I think if more agents did this, it would work. If it's one person out of five, like
Yeah.
I said, my office, everyone thought I was crazy. It's like when I say to when I meet new agents and I say, you know, it's okay to fire a client, they look at me like I've got 3 heads. Like, what do you mean fire clients? How do I fire a client?
Well, if it doesn't
Well-
work between you, it doesn't work between you.
Well,
Yeah.
wait, we all know, for those of us that have been in the business for a really
Yeah.
long time, there's always a couple of people that in hindsight, you're like, I should have let that person go right from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
for
true.
sure.
I think what I love about this discussion is we're really all on the same page as to protecting our income,
Mhm.
protecting the time, because we do spend a lot of time with people. There's nothing that we can do to change that. Some buyers need to see multiple homes before they find the one. Other buyers don't. And I think that as a group, as colleagues, we need to stand up for what protects us. The BRA is part of that. Knowing when to let a client go, knowing that some clients need to understand our value proposition a little bit more before they're going to sign the BRA, knowing that each person is different, but we have to be unified in protecting our time and our income.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to see across the nation.
Mhm.
All of us are going, no, I'm not going to tell my buyers to just call the listing agents and then shoot me back money. I'm going to, be unified in protecting us as a group.
Mhm. Absolutely.
If I can say, well, if I can say that out loud, I already did.
Well, you said it. And I agree with you. I mean, I think it's important that all agents kind of think the same way in terms of their clients and BRA. And then you're going to get a lot less of this bantering and arguing and RICO complaints and so on that happen because you didn't do your due diligence and somebody else did, and you ended up on the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And that's really at the end of the day what the BRA kind of was to bring in, was to stop or help to stop the back and forth that kind of happens between agents and let everybody work together. I mean, there's many agents, even when they say, oh, well, this person's looking in this area and I don't work that area. Okay, great. Refer them to an agent in that area, get a referral fee, and then let the agent work the client and make the difference. Like,
Perfect.
You've done some of that legwork to know that that client is viable. Why not make a little bit of money for that viability and then let somebody else work with them to be able to, complete the transaction at the end of the day. Right.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
great. I
Can
mean,
I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, I think all of this stems from the broker. It has to come from the broker of what is expected of their employees. Because if everyone's allowed to do whatever they want, which is why we have a fragmented system, some people don't see the value in their time. But I think if the broker says, here's what's acceptable, here's what's not acceptable, it'll go a long way to helping everybody be unison. Right?
Yeah,
you're right.
Here's what I would suggest, being the manager here. When you guys have experiences in the field, share them with your manager, share them with your broker of record, because the way that policies within the brokerage are developed are, if we're starting to see something becoming more common, right? And then we can kind of go, okay, maybe now we do need to make a policy within our agents that we're always going to practice this. So share what you're experiencing, because that helps your leadership behind the scenes know what needs to be changed. I'm all about that. And at the end of the day, there's a lot going on that we need to sometimes do set within the brokerage. Here's how we're going to handle it. But never be afraid to try to get the BRA signed. The thing is, we're all independent subcontractors, right? We're all independent contractors. So you have to run the business that you feel is best for you, based also on your brokerage's policies. So, I do want to see a lot of us get it signed sooner than later, in order for us to be more unified as a realtor group, so that buyers out there aren't going, well, so-and-so said they wouldn't.
Right.
And I think as we start to develop and we start to continue to share in groups like this, we can all start to make a point of maybe offering our value proposition and having people sign it more earlier, rather than at the very minimum at the point of doing an offer.
And just to clarify for some people, I don't think that necessarily means that you need to have the BRA signed prior to taking anybody out on properties. It really depends on how you have that conversation with the client, how you educate the client, and what you put in terms of what your foundation is with them. To be able to have those open conversations, whether you're out showing property or prior. Right. But I think, Tara and everybody who has spoken here today is definitely on the right track, where they say, make sure to get that BRA signed, because at the end of the day, you can end up burning yourself. Without even realizing it, and you've put forth all that time and effort, and now who's going to pay you for that time and effort? And you deserve to be paid for that time and effort.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
We deserve it.
Absolutely.
I'm hiring a lot here in the brokerage, like a lot of people from Humber, they're getting their license, and as we're training, the new agents, because they still need so much training. they're like, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. And I'm like, the perception out there that we sell a house, we make $40,000 and, then we can go whatever,
Right.
that it's quick and easy money is so far from the truth of what us as realtors really do on a daily, minute by minute basis. And that's why I think that the BRA, as hard as it was for those of us to transition into it because we'd never had it, we have to protect ourselves. So, figure out what that is. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to send me. I get some of you found my cell number. You text me. I'm always available to give any opinion or advice. Don't be afraid to talk to your broker of record, your manager. In a situation that AFTAB was in, don't be afraid to go in a situation like that and get advice before losing the deal, because there are people out there that will take advantage of us. It's a name,
Absolutely.
it's the name of the business. But
And
let's
I think,
change it.
yeah. And I think that Larry's right as well in what he said, that it does come from the top. If it's not clear for any of you as to what the policies are within your own brokerage for BRA, go ask them. Go find out what they want you to do and what their policy is and what that process is, because each brokerage does look at it differently, unfortunately, and each brokerage does have their own policy and their own process. So don't be afraid to ask those questions, whether it be of your broker of record, whether it be of the manager who's on duty, whatever the case may be, because you're only educating yourself so that you can then go ahead and educate your client.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's get, let's make sure that we at very minimum explain the reasons around it, educate our people a little bit more than I think that what we have been doing. We need to make a conscious effort to actually say, here's the reason behind it, because the public just doesn't know. And then the public goes by hearsay, right? My dad told me not to sign it, so I'm not signing it because now it's coming down
voodoo. Now it's become voodoo. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is great. You guys are amazing. Another webinar. Yay.
Absolutely. I think this was really some great open conversations. Thank you, Tara, so much for your advice and what your processes are. And everybody who spoke out today, I know that that's difficult to do in general, talking about your own personal experiences, but we really do appreciate it, because at the end of the day, your comments can help somebody else who ended up in that situation or may future end up in that situation. And now they understand for themselves what they can and should and shouldn't do. So bravo to all of you who spoke out and assisted us with the webinar today.
Yeah.
So we're done in just like a minute or two. I don't know if anybody has one last question that they may have before we sign off. So I'll give you one last opportunity. And then otherwise, what will happen is we'll sign off here. And at some point, the webinar will end up on our YouTube channel, probably when Crystal gets back. She'll upload it for me because I don't have access to that. She takes care of all those amazing things. Honestly, thank you, Tara. Thank you, everybody who participated. I hope that all of you have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your week. Okay.
Right, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.